Hi, my name is Terry. I'm your boy Terry, and I'm here. And in this particular video, I'm going to be talking about me and the histories and stories that constitutes me and my journey. And at the very least, I want this video to be heard by the entire globe. This is humanly attainable and possible by your means. So just in case you are here and have found this video, I kindly implore you to watch the entirety of this video. And as you do, please pay attention to the undertone of my voice. Look into the weakness of my eyes. And please buy your time to see this entire documentary containing me till its very end. Another thing I ask is that you please share this video to as many people as possible and implore them to watch it as well. I'm going to be speaking of my suffering as well. You know, the extent of suffering that exists in the world, but mostly as a means to inspire you, to engage you to continue pushing, regardless of how bitch you are, because many things are possible if you're too lazy to quit. That aside, I'd like to begin this video. So, I'm known as Surpassing Google across the entire internet. Not that I'm popular, but I've written many resources and many people have spoken about me as well. So if you want to delve into, you know, the depth of my world, you can search the search engines like Google and type in the word Surpassing Google, and I'm sure you'll find some resources related to me. I'm suffering. You know, I'm extremely suffering, and there's no other way to explain this. You know, there's no way of explaining this well enough with words. But this is a positive thing. I know that I'm going to have to engage in extreme levels of suffering in order for my journey to, you know, to ripen. In reality, I believe that this is what I was born for. To gift something to the world, to reveal knowledge to the world that it may never gain insight to. For this knowledge, however, to attain a state of ripeness, so that I'm able to relay this information to the world and accomplish its intention, so that my information is dispensed and it is not misconstrued. I knew that I was going to have to do suffering, and suffering without an outlet. Again, this is a positive because I was also gifted by the Creator with special human virtues, those needed to undertake this journey. One such virtue or gift is the ability to really grasp suffering, you know, to understand suffering till its intensest extent. Well, in order to fully grasp suffering, as I've described it, I would also have had to do suffering without an outlet. Other human virtues that I've been gifted with is self-control to high measures. You know, this has enabled me to undertake suffering and partake in it. I was also gifted with the ability of diverting suffering, you know, giving testimonial essence to what suffering has constituted, using it as an inspiration for innovating solutions. Many such gifts. So undergoing suffering, I learned a lot, which I've accrued and have with me until now. And this has formed the basis for 3 websites that I've made, which is going to fuel my message to the entire world. Not only websites, there are other measures as well, but I'm going to just keep this video short. I'm going to explain how much I need help, because I'm at a stage where my body is entirely broken. I'm in the rubble and I need the help of humanity. At the very least, that this video is seen by the entire globe. From a young boy, I've looked for a chair that I can sit on to be able to dispense rare intel to the world, by world standards. That has not been possible. But this is a chair. It's not a particularly fancy chair. It's a staircase that I found. All the same, by your means, it's possible that this message is revealed to or revealable to the world as a whole. So please pay attention, and kindly share as you do. Speaking of suffering, I've done, most times it's hard to talk about it, because it's not entirely explainable using words. How do you explain that you have lost the ability to sleep, as a young boy? Even to myself, this is unexplainable. Years ago, I will not have believed that it's possible for a human to entirely lose the ability to sleep. I've not yawned in a long time. I no longer know what it feels like. I don't feel sleepy. I long for the opportunity or luxury of feeling that feeling. I know the value of that feeling. I know how much 10 minutes of sleep can do to your recovery. But I've lost out on that. But how do I explain this to people? How do I explain that if ever I get sleep, it's the most agonized rest? It's filled with so much agony and labor that being awake is better. How do I explain that my brain has lost the ability of controlling my nerves? So much so that my entire nerve system is always on, is always active. I've lost the ability to relax. And this hampers everything related to life, everything related to leisure. Even going to release excrement is a once in a week endeavor in my case because of the inability to relax. When you sit down there in the toilet bowl and you're trying to relax, to release your excrement, it's almost impossible because the muscles in your anus don't have the ability to relax, and my brain cannot control this activity, which is supposed to be a reflex. Breathing is 2 gasps for 1 gulp of air. Because of the same reason, my nerves are never relaxed, so my body forgets to breathe. But besides my nerves, I have excruciating pain all body long, 24/7. So every minute of the day is extreme pain. I don't have any position, that can comfort me. Even if I lay on the bed, it's like I'm laying on rocks. I have to go and sit on the toilet bowl so many times during the day just to get 5 minutes of relief because of the hollow space where it's quite possible that my bones are not connecting or touching anything. Yes, I'm in extreme pains, and I do this every day, and I've done this for so many years. This is not to mention the levels of depression and trauma and daily pains that I've engaged in for more than a decade, since I was 13. Once I became conscious of the state of humanity, the real state of my household, at 13, I began to lose out on joy in its entirety. I began to want to desire, need for adjustment to where I can return to my parents and relay to them their first whispers of good news. to where I can take light right inside the tunnel so that people inside the tunnel no longer have to wait till the end of the tunnel to find light, to where I can reveal dates and tell people today or on a particular day, breakthrough awaits, instead of incessantly consoling them with tomorrow will be better. Once I became conscious of these things and suffering began, I began to understand and grasp my mission and vision and perhaps the entire reason for my existence in the world. It's no coincidence that my username across the internet was Surpassing Google. I wanted to reach the entire world with my gifts. I wanted to reach the entire world with light. I wanted to take cognizance of everyone, and especially those that the world in its renowned standards have not been able to take cognizance of. This is not because they do not have the desire of doing so or the intention of doing so, but because the route to do so requires suffering without an outlet, and that requires special gift. No human wants to, to swallow discomfort as daily bread and bear it so as to channel it to good use. In my journey, I look to sift the nonsense to find sense therein, or at least find testimonial use for good. I took the route of the untalented, wanting to reward attempts at talents, eliminating bomb, average or smart to where everyone becomes genius. This began to shape my entire journey and the model for every form of infrastructure or invention or innovation that I managed to create. I did suffering, and in my household it was laden with suffering. My dad carried a similar dream but in a different era. So he soaked up so much depression without knowing that depression existed, and he kept carrying this load, wanting to adjust the state of humanity, and the load became too much. And this I was witnessing as I was growing old. He began to crumble in his health, and he accrued glaucoma, dementia, diabetes. He has one leg with an open wound that has not healed for years, and the other leg close to amputation. There are many human activities that he can no longer control, and he has also lost the ability to sleep. So he stays up 24/7, and currently he is in a state of wailing. He is wailing every day because what happened recently, after I've left my parents for 5 years for the prospect of returning to them with their first whispers of good news, on the 5th year, I thought the breakthrough was finally close to where I can gather my family together. I have 3 sisters, and we can live as a household, and I can give them some good news. So I ended up going to Dubai to be with my 3 sisters for the first time after 5 years, and we planned on bringing my parents to the Philippines where I live so that we can begin the process of reuniting and living as a household once again. We have been separated, to bring about change, all my sisters, from a very young age. We've left the house wanting to cater to our studies ourselves, wanting to bring about change. So this was the first time after waiting and hoping that this will turn into a possibility. I returned to the Philippines, and the next thing I hear is my mom. She has attained her first ever illness. For the first time, my mom was in the hospital, and it was leukemia. The heights of trauma that I've gone through, especially in recent times, is extreme. It's beyond what words can explain. So that is why I'm here in my actual voice, so that my undertone can be heard as well. Perhaps this will do the explaining. Yes, So I finally saw my mom for 16 days only. She used her very last energy to be here to see her son. I'm sure that was her mission because she came here with her very last energy. And upon arriving here, that same night, I was in the rain looking for a hospital. I had hopes, you know. I dared to hope one more time in her case and embark on a fight mission for the sake of her life because she was fighting herself. She she was a solid woman, a very strong, loving woman. She knew of me and my mission and she didn't stop me. She knew she will have to share me with so many moms around the world and she could relegate her, the time that I dedicate to her so that my mission attains fulfillment. She knew of my mission and my dad knew as well, but they never stopped me. So, we spent 16 days together and on her last day, everything happened abruptly. I was still, you know, I was still relishing hope that there were possibilities and we're going to try at another hospital after moving from one hospital to another on her last day. But she became, very weak and I had to rush her to a nearby hospital. And that day I watched her die for 30 minutes because she was fighting. They pumped her hard before me and she was not retiring for 13 minutes. Her body gave me some consolation so that my trauma does not turn me crazy. In reality, I learned a lot. I spent some time with her body and I drew some I don't know where it came from, but some strength to keep her alive with my deeds, to continue in the route of being extremely loving towards humanity, to continue on the path of of influencing a humanity where humanity is the brother next to you. So I started to solidify my models, the models for my infrastructure, and now more than ever, the models for what constitutes surpassing Google is ready. To build this model, I've had to wait so that everything related to it is ripe. I've had to wait for insight from the Creator Jehovah. I know that it is insight because everything related to what constitutes surpassing Google is rare knowledge, is knowledge that the world itself has not found. So under the ecosystem of surpassing Google, there are going to be 3 online interfaces. So apart from creating a model that removes all barriers to entry when it comes to everything good, so that everyone and anyone in the entire globe can be deserving of everything good and can attain everything good. Yes, these are the reasons for these 3 interfaces, and I'm going to summarize what each of the interfaces does. The first one, which is spearheading this movement, is called ulogs.org. ulogs.org. It's derived from the word blog or vlog. But instead of a B or a V, then you have a letter U, where the U stands for you. It's basically a social platform where everyone can have a user profile, and it's actually built around humans. We want to return value for humans. We want to appeal to the soft spot of Mama Earth by means of the beauty and shine of humans. So we want to create a platform where everyone has reason to mind the human into its awesomest version. Mining refers to the word digging, an activity that incites you to innovate content daily so that you are revealing of yourself and denting your legacies into your very cores on a daily basis. This kind of content is called U-logs. So it means that at least once a day, you're creating content where you will not resource from the internet. Instead, you will be gifting to the internet so as to reshape the internet each day with fresh pieces of you, because every day carries its own freshness, and every day with you in it becomes a more powerful day. By means of you logging, we will refresh every existing concept, every existing hashtag, infusing our legacies on a daily basis into this concept so that this concept stay dynamic and suddenly become fresh. The ulogs.org website is built around certified uloggers or humans, so everyone will be able to have a space where he can build a dream. And the ulogs ecosystem will try to enhance each user with tools to be able to build their dreams, empower them, reference them to opportunities by virtue of the community that we've gathered. And we've gathered a community of solid people from around the world, which is growing. I'll leave links explaining each of my websites or links to each of my interfaces below. The next interface is called steamgeeks.org. It is simply an ecosystem that gathers dream builders. We want to gather dream builders from across the world, people who understand the concept and culture of humanity being the brother next to you, who can apply their expertise or service towards building another person's dream. We want a world where every noble dream is built. And finally, there's MacroHard. MacroHard is removing all barriers to entry from the world of programming. Many times, especially in nations of the world, referred to as developing a barrier towards accomplishing or bringing a dream to fruition is programming. We want to remove all barriers to entry from programming so that everyone and anyone with any level of expertise can code or program a noble dream into reality. It is possible. And why it is, what makes it possible is related to some of the rare knowledge in relation to understanding life and humans that I've accrued while suffering without an outlet. All that was missing from the world is basically nothing. All the answers to questions that the world or people seek answers for in outer space have answers down to earth. And it takes, for some of this knowledge, it takes a legit illiterate, which is what I constitute, to find, because a legit illiterate pays attention to these things that constitute nonsense. The world has no blame, but someone has to come up to instigate balance. Once you have a world where everyone can shine, then every noble dream is buildable. Then money becomes the smaller things. All that is missing from the world in reality when it comes to humans and their ability to excel is shine. Many times our shine is relegated into redundancy because of circumstances, because of the odds that we face, because of terrible experiences. This shine begins to relegate into redundancy. In some cases, we never tap into our shine, because the curriculums of the world are not shaped to enable us mine the human into its awesomest version. The world takes cognizance more of talents, of brain, and that is what curriculums of the world tend to mine. So much so that we begin to forget the human, the down-to-earthedness, and begin to seek answers in outer space. So this is my role. And to that effect, I'm also going to eventually have a school, an entire school with courses, and the name of the school is Legit Illiteracy. So in this school, I'm going to be revealing all my rare intel in the form of knowledge in a school where everyone can attend, kid or adult, regardless of level of expertise. Where everyone is a genius, and I will be doing that for free, which is my gift to humanity. So I've mentioned the three interfaces, and below in this post, to keep the video short, I will leave resources explaining each of these interfaces because I really need your support in kickstarting some of my projects. I've pushed and pushed on my limited budget, and I've brought some interface to existence, but it has not entered the level, that will make it ready for world adoption. However, the models more than ever before is ready for each of these interfaces, and that is why I'm coming here to push once again to ask that humanity supports me. Because now more than has ever been the case, my health has deteriorated. Your boy Terry, who used to be very vibrant and active and driven, and who would push to the extremest of levels, is fading. My being is solid, but my body is broken. The levels of extreme pain that I do in a day is putting fears in me related to health hazards or perils, and it's pertinent that I begin to heal. And there is no way for me to heal except I bring my projects to full-blown life for the use by humanity. This is all I've lived for. This is all that I've broken out for all the years, or most of the years of my life. I'm losing out on memory. I don't have any distant memory, even of my mom. I try different times to meditate so that I can recall any fun or happy moments that I shared with my mom, but I don't have any of those memories. I only have the recent memory from her passing away, and even those are no longer vivid. I really need to heal. I'm a young boy who does not experience leisure. If you mention one regular thing that a normal boy has, I don't have it. I don't see sunlight. I don't have companionship. I don't have play. I don't sleep. And my dad is next to me because when my mom died, there was no one to take care of my dad. I had to relocate him here. And when he arrived, I didn't know that he has accrued so many illnesses. When he arrived here, it was very beyond traumatic for me because every day I've had to watch the great man who carried similar dreams to me before me suffer every day. He wails every day because he doesn't sleep, and he talks to himself. And especially when he first arrived, he was thinking that he was going to be with his wife because his wife left where he was abruptly to come to the Philippines to see me, not knowing that she will pass away. So upon arriving to the Philippines, all he was seeking was his wife, and there was no way of explaining to him successfully of his wife's passing away, because for one thing, he has dementia and he forgets. So you have to bring the topic up, and you have to take cognizance of his high blood pressure, which is always at 200 to 250 on a regular day. You have to take cognizance of most of his other health conditions before, in relation to how you dispense information to him. And if you have to repeat the same information after 2 days because he forgot, then he enters a state of wailing again. And my dad is a very great man, one of great character and deep substance. He has his self-confidence intact, his mission, his ambition intact, even though his mind or his brain is no longer able to control his senses. He has kept his dreams alive. If he hears the metal clanging in the next door, he's wanting to go there, asking for his property. How are his houses, the building of his houses, coming along? How is the building of his houses coming along? And even though he cannot see and he cannot walk well, he will stand up and try to walk towards the gate to seek a way of opening the gate. The last time he did that, he fell sick because he did it at night and I didn't know, because I was also sick for the first time in a very long time. And then mosquitoes bit him and he got dengue fever. But because of his other health conditions, something happened to perhaps his brain. Something really happened that he entered into a sleep overdrive. I don't know if it had to do with the diabetes as well. I was happy at first that my dad can get sleep, even if for some hours. When I found him sleeping, it was a thing of special joy to me, because I understand it when someone cannot sleep. But then I saw that he was going on to day 2 and he was having high fever and he was sleeping, and anytime you wake him up, his brain is not intact. It's like he has to reach for his brain. He doesn't know how to carry out simple activities and he doesn't want to be awake. So we had to transport him in an ambulance to the hospital, and within 5 days, when I checked the bill, we've already accrued $1,000. And I had to bring him back in the same way that I took him away. Until today, he has not really recovered. He's still very sleepy and I really don't know, what to do. So in this video, I'm here to seek some help. To bring my products, my interfaces to full-blown life, I've tried to brainstorm on possible solutions, and I'm not one to, be fed with fish. I'll rather fish. So I've, established that I simply need to create a macro hard hub. This is my third interface. It's called macro hard. While I'm going to have a web interface eventually, I think it's pertinent that I establish a physical hub right in my house, which was the original intention, to create a hub or a small office in my house, which I did when my dad was coming. That was the original plan, so that I can have some companions and my projects can, every day attain livelihood, and also so that my dad can feed off some of the presence of humans in the house. At the very least, I thought of all those things, but when my dad arrived, he was very ill that it was impossible. We had to go to the hospital first to do all the tests and then attain some prescription for his maintenance medicine per day, which was a very high amount every day. Then it just became a life of anxiety. Each day became very much of anxiety, so that I can especially buy my dad's medicine, because when I don't, I feel like a killer. I feel like his brain is depreciating and I'm the killer. Many things like that, because I love my family and I really want to help these people because they're just loving people. And so what I've established is, why don't I start? Two of my interfaces are already live. So I have a domain name and an existing interface, but they're still in an early stage. They are usable though, but more recently I've been doing task requests to invite programmers to help in building it. It's all open source, so that the code is revealed to everyone and anyone. In case something happens to me, I hope not, someone out there can carry on, because I've written resources explaining the entire model and the code is open source. So I established that if I open an office in my house, I will be doing, humanity good in the real world as well, while creating a rendezvous or a network of programmers right in my house who can use my projects as case study to enhance their expertise and gain revenue as well. And as well as create a revenue model in my house in the long term that can help me sustain my daily needs, and especially that of my dad, pending when my interfaces enter a state of completeness. and becomes open to the general public. So I'm thinking of creating a macro hard office in my house because I have the space. It was rented in the beginning but was never used because when my dad came, he was very apprehensive and unsettled. But now he appears to be, like I said, he sleeps more than used to be the case now. So it's a good time for me to have this office in my house. This office will look to gather programmers, especially those in schools in their third or fourth year doing computer science or IT. And I'll gather these boys and girls in the house and empower them with real life knowledge as they also practice their expertise in relation to coding. I'll also open them to opportunities, projects that need programmers so that they can also gain revenue. I'll also invest in a photo studio right in my house or a video studio right in my house so that we can record code stories. The world of programming is lacking in coding stories, coding errors. So this makes it hard for people who are not versed when it comes to programming to even dare to attempt it. It looks like a godlike world. We can turn it into a more human world so that it gains adoption. And this is the plan. I want to create a programming language that creates balance, a programming language where it no longer matters what programming language you're expert in. You can code in this language. It no longer matters what your expertise or level of literacy is. You can code in this language. The reason is because the enterprise will be applying a method that breaks coding into very simple pieces where we take cognizance of the next contributing developer with the current task. So basically, the framework for the next task is built in the current task. It's just like surpassing Google, me living in this era and thinking of generations yet unborn, wanting them to know that I was here and I was willing to make sacrifices so that they come here and they no longer have to make these sacrifices because someone was here, giving testimonial essence to suffering so that generations yet unborn do not have to go through with suffering. This is what shapes the entire model that constitutes Surpassing Google. So if I can set up a macro hard hub, we can also create content that will lead towards a world where everyone is able to code a noble dream into reality, starting with the Philippines. So as we begin to empower youths in the Philippines to become better humans, the awesomest version of human, teaching them to program with swag, then we can begin to expand as well to other nations and create new form of content in a bid to reshape the search engines. So one of the paradigms is always serving the search engines, surpassing Google using Google itself. So this involves creating content, but freshly made content so that we don't have to recycle what already exists. If you type the word how to make money online, what will arrive. At the very least, I expect Google to give me the address to the nearest ATM. But I tell you, you will not find content like that on the entire internet because most of the information there is recycled in relation to world standards. So that the answers you will get is, do affiliate marketing, fill up surveys, Google AdSense, create a blog and get some ad revenue from Google, or create a YouTube channel and vlog or vlog and then get some revenue in the form of ad revenue or ad sharing. You would not hear of something like ulog. In the world of contests, in the world of reality TV, you will not hear something of Untalented. However, if we created a reality TV that opens winning to everyone, or maybe not, opens the contest itself to everyone. Assuming it's a singing contest and you allow everyone to participate, whether you can sing off key and on key, then you'll be hosting the entire world. You'll create a bigger revenue model as well. If revenue building is your theme. Anyway, it's getting dark. I need to conclude this video, and I please want to ask your help, really. And the reason I'm asking again is because of the state of my health. I no longer have the abilities that I used to have, and especially now, it is pertinent that I get a healing so that I don't die, so that I don't accrue terminal illnesses. Every day I watch my dad, all I'm told is, Terry, stop what you're doing or you will be like your dad. And it's no coincidence. I understand it because I know the state of my body. I know the state of immense hardship that my physical body has been through. And currently I entertain all those fears like cancer, dementia, yes. Because like I said, I'm losing my memory already. And my mom underwent stress. So it doesn't take too much stress to have things like cancer. And I know my name is stress in reality. When I first came to the Philippines, I used to be on the laptop almost 24 hours with my head against the wall. So my neck will be in a slanted position against the wall because I didn't have a chair. And I didn't even know that I was killing the cells on my head. So one time I was playing basketball and, they have these aerial shots. And then I saw that my head was getting bald. And not because I'm growing old, it's because the cells on my head has died. I didn't know this for years because I don't even look in the mirrors. All I want to do is surpass Google to gift something to humanity. And that's all I've been about. So my body at this point is broken and it's in a critical state. It needs to repair. But my being is what will not rest. So for my healing to take place, I really need to bring my platforms to life, at least to a state where it can begin to attain adoption. In the end, I'm going to have a token. It's called the Teardrops token because I want to reward proof of tears. I want to give essence to suffering. No longer should we suffer for fun. This token I would like to distribute to everyone who participates in the ecosystem of my platforms. Participating in the ecosystem of my platforms means mining the human. The platforms are modeled to mine human virtues like self-control, like love, like forgiveness, like ambition, like mentality. We need interfaces that can foot these curriculums, that can incite people to go back into mining the human virtues. Then the world will be filled more with humans. There will be more value for humans. Superman, CryptoKitties, Pokemon will not be able to instigate more appeal by world standards than humans themselves. A Superman, which is a fictional character, will not be able to accrue more fans than humans themselves. There will be no millionaire cuts where humans do not have daily bread. We can adjust this. We just need to tap into our shine. And we can do that by logging daily, by mining the human. Once we reattain ownership of our cookies, our very elements, money itself will begin to seek our very frequency. There is evidence of this. Google, Facebook, they understudy our cookies, which they accrue from our browser or our browsing behavior, and they use that to be able to influence us successfully. They use that to be able to create a revenue model to serve us advertisement in relation to our likes. And they're successful. They build revenue models in the range of billions using the cookies that we let out obliviously in the comfort of our rooms while we browse. If we simply take ownership or retake ownership of these cookies, begin to explore these elements of us, begin to explore the five senses that we have, to the extent of its beauty, then we will tap into our superstar. We will become true celebrity. And the motto for ulogs.org is true celebrity for everyone, once and for all. It is possible. I'm going to stop here. I'm your boy Terry, and your boy Terry is a constant. Whether, bulls or bears, I will bear your consequence in silence. I will love you extremely, even though I've lived a life filled with extreme cruelty. I'll go out of my way on behalf of your dreams, on behalf of your desires, your intentions. I want to enable that every noble dream is buildable. At the very end, I want to use these interfaces to direct everyone to the ultimate beauty of the Creator Jehovah. One way of learning about the Creator is via creation, and we are amongst the complexest and most loved creation of Jehovah. Tapping into this beauty, the beauty of our creation, and we will be directed to the Creator. This is the eventual mission. Please share this video. I want Ellen Degenres, Oprah, all TV shows that have a chair, that seats people to voice a message into the world, to hear this. Perhaps one day they will call me and put me on that chair so that I can reveal the rare intel I've gathered from my world, a world that constituted suffering without an outlet. I've not tasted happiness in reality, courtesy of me, but that you shine is my happiness. It is a new breed of happiness. I mentioned the token earlier. We will use this to reward proof of tears. Tears not as a sad thing, but as a breakthrough thing, because en route attaining the awesomest version of human, there is bound to be many tears, happy, sad, or unfelt tears. We will reward these tears. I know how many tears have teared. I know how many tears the humanity has teared. Perhaps this solution is the first, obviousest, simplest solution. Perhaps the solution is fixing the tears with some teardrops. I'm your boy Terry once again at Surpassing Google and the entire internet. And I love you. Just that you are human, I love you. And this is a certainty. Please support me to enable the first macro hard physical hub here in the Philippines. I need to raise a small budget, which I will use, and whatever extra remains, I will use it towards building ulogs.org and steamgigs.org and an eventual macro hard interface. So whatever budget I'm able to accrue, I'll use it to create an office, and I'll reveal evidence of it after we're able to gather people, youths from across the Philippines, and begin to teach them how to program with swag and begin to make them awesomest versions of humans. The moment we're able to create humans that can cater to generations yet unborn, if we're able to create 10,000 of such like humans, that is a very powerful thing. And many of these things are attainable by means of you. So please, I'm glad that you got to the end of this video. Please share it and implore others to watch it as well till its entirety. And please look underneath this video in the description. I'll leave all necessary resources and my information as to how you can help me or support me with some finances, which I'll put towards kickstarting this project. I'll leave PayPal and different addresses, including my bank account information, so that you can please support me with some money. Normally, it's very hard for me to help. This is me in the rubble, my entire tired being in the rubble. I'm no longer able to do the things that I used to be able to do. I'm no longer able to work because of my physical condition and my pains. And even if I got a job, my rent expenses alone, a job here in the Philippines cannot cater to it. So I need a way to sustain myself for 3 months at least, till my interfaces can begin to, create some form of revenue. In general, my models and interfaces are all going to be free to use, but I will be able to create some form of partnership and some form of eventual revenue model in the long term that will sustain me and help me continue on this route. I'm also going to put a fashion place, because I'm going to empower these programmers and these youths with fashion as well, so that we can feel good all together and shine and be addressed as humans, bringing balance and light into the entire world. I love you all. Please support me, and especially watch this video. At the very least, I want my voice to be heard. I want this video to be heard globally. So please, even if you are not able to support me financially, that is secondary in reality. Please pay attention to this video, my undertone and my story, however rough it is. Please bear with me and share this video while imploring others to share and watch it as well. I love you again. Your boy Terry at Surpassing Google. Peace.